Good morning, everybody. 24 hours later than normal. Let's see who's in today. Yeah, filling up nicely.
All right.
All right. I was just having a chat with Maurizio off camera, and he's just convinced me to quit in total everything, crypto, life. He just told me to basically give up, have a rest. So that's me. I'm just going to slide away. Then, yeah, no. Uh, there are limits with AI and knowledge, and we've talked about AI a lot on here. And I think I'm at the point now that I've driven the AI so far operationally, i.e., I can create harnesses and whatnot, that my ability to get the AI to do what I want it to do is outstripping the actual knowledge that I can feed the AI. Like I'm taking things as far as I can take them. And the power is knowing when to quit, right? But it's when to quit building something and actually run it as a machine. Like build a great big cathedral, but never actually run it and never actually do anything with it. And this
Mm.
whole AI journey has just been iterative, bug chasing, bug chasing, bug chasing. Fable comes along, iterate the whole thing, the whole thing,
Yep.
the whole thing, bug chasing. You know, and it's really good. Yeah, and I think I got my system pretty licked now with the weather map. And now it's a case of thinking, well, look at the conditions at the moment. Are you looking around the market and seeing trades just falling over themselves? No. Would you think of this as an easy time to trade or a hard time to trade? Well, I think it's quite a hard time to trade. I'm still fully well, not fully, but my bias is bearish still. I still think we've got more downside to come, but this kind of just sideways grind, it's tough. You can look for relative strength outliers at the moment, but then you've really got to do the sort of position sizing that Maurizio has shown us, where you put on the tight stops, and then you well, depending on what type of trade it is, depends on how you size it, because you size it relatively. And then you get your money, oh, but can you see the more and more layers that stack on top of this? So I think I'm at the point with the AI now where I can't tell it or teach it anymore. It's now just going to be a case of having to do the work, which means it's going to feel like everything has slowed down because
Yeah.
you've gone from this
hmm
high powered AI to this, you know what I mean? Anyway, who else is playing with the AI? I'd love to hear how your journey is.
Oh yeah, Donna. Hi. I hear about that at the new K3. I haven't tried. I just came back from a little bit of a break, so I've been disconnected, which is quite nice. I haven't been disconnected from the markets in a very long time, so it took a few days off. And yeah, I'm just catching up this morning with markets and everything. So yeah, K3 came out. For those ones that don't know, Kimi K3. Kimi is a Chinese model, right? And yeah, it's kind of open source in a way. It is and it's not, right? Let me explain how it works. And it technically is the competition of Fable, right? But instead of paying I don't know, for 100,000 million tokens in paying like with Fable, I think you pay like $80, something like that for 100 million tokens. Then with K3, you only pay like $15 to the same reasoning models, right? Um, so I think that's probably why they push Anthropic to offer now Fable into their subscription model, right? Because there's a lot of competitors, right? Now you do have OpenAI stuff as well, and don't be surprised that, for instance, remember that Venice AI still you can actually now use Kimi K3 through Venice at a reasonable prices. So that's one of the things about. I'm going to talk about VVVO today. So yeah, haven't used it yet. I'm going to use it this week to have a comparison instead of actually a Fable. The thing is, this is getting overwhelming. Meaning, well, it's been over AI has been overwhelming, right? From the past, I don't know, and it's going to get worse because now you have all these models that train models. You know what I mean? And it gets exponential, right? So think about how far we have taken AI so far and how long it used to take to release a new model, right? So it used to take probably 6 months to release a new model. Now it's fucking releasing every month, every model. So why? Because the same
30
models
days.
actually fucking training the models, right? So it's going to get interesting, man. It's going to get interesting. Uh, I guess you just need to be proficient in this is a new technology in a way, right? This is what we're trying to, or what I'm trying to work out. How can we use it more effectively with trading, right? And I have some good and bad experiences with it, but then yeah. So glad
Because
you're using it. Glad you. So yeah,
I
yeah.
read that if you want to run that Kimi, that K3 locally, that you can stack together those Apple Studio boxes
Yep. Yep.
and it's 10 times more powerful and 10 times cheaper than Nvidia.
Well, think about it from the perspective of how much you let's say you run a company, right? And the first thing that I think those type of things are going to be the future. Why? Because you have a local AI. What that means is you can trust it with the data, right? It's a model that actually runs locally. It doesn't go to Anthropic, your passwords, anything goes to Anthropic to use your data against you or whatever, right? So it's basically you can actually unplug all those machines out of the internet and it will work fine within your local network. I think that's fucking amazing, man.
Mhm.
I'm using a local model. My Mac Mini is not that powerful, but the fact that you could stack 4 or 5 Mac Minis, talk about I don't know 20 grand in terms of infrastructure, and run that for a company I think it's fucking worth it. You know what I mean? At a level of Opus level. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be a level of Fable. Who knows? Maybe I haven't tried K3.
I mean, Opus 5 is not that far away from Fable.
There you go. So probably K3 or because I've used K2, Kimi K2, right? And basically what they it's not as it wasn't as far it did a pretty good job. Uh, same reasoning about Opus 4.5. So think about it from the perspective that you take that, you download it, or you put it locally, and you don't pay a cent. Everything is local. You know what I mean? Not only for the price perspective, but for the privacy perspective. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like it is privacy is going to get really, really, really important right now in the next couple of years. I think so. So that's why still have a really good value for VVV, right? The token that we talk about in terms
Mm.
of what they do and how they do it is the only crypto company that actually is doing that type of stuff. So we'll see the charts and
Mm.
because that I think the way that the company is heading, I think it does support it for a long term. So I think that's one of the ones that I'm going to be watching today or this week to see how they react. So yeah, no, good. Like yeah, man, it is what it is, man. Yeah. Yeah, near as well. Near too many things, man. Too many things for AI right now. And the thing is, in terms of crypto, right, the narrative is not there. Obviously, unfortunately, everything is driven by Bitcoin in a way, right? Doesn't matter. Like it's really great projects out there, right? I'll show you another one that I'm tracking in terms of robotics, right? Because robotics is going to be the new early sort of stuff, right? The AI is the first thing is all the stuff that you can actually do digitally, right? Like all the stuff that we experience is, but I think the new era is going to be all the robotics combined with AI, of course, right? So now you have the brains, but now you need the arms to go in the physical world to do stuff, right? And it's a lot of AI, AI slash robotics that are actually being launched. It is a few things on crypto that I'm watching, that I'll be watching. Are we there yet? I don't know. We'll go through the charts and everything, but long term, I think they could be really good. I'll share with you something that I'm watching. It's not crypto related, but it's a it's a few IPOs and things in I don't know because right now I think if you look at the stock market, a lot of the things are actually, a lot of the new companies launching AI, robotics, all the stuff, actually they're doing much better than crypto. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the investors are moving towards that new narrative. He's excited. He's on NASDAQ. He's fucking regulated. He's, whatever, whatever, whatever. So I think that's when I think that could be something that is happening right now, and that's why crypto is not catching up because crypto is not excited anymore. What's exciting? AI, robotics, autonomous cars, energy, right? Energy is water, right? You see all the stuff, and all the stuff runs on big companies right now on Nasdaq. So yeah, that's obviously I'm just talking out loud here. I don't have any data to back it up, but this is kind of the feeling that I'm getting, that I've been getting for the past week or past month per se, right? Because I can show you some stuff that I'm watching on Nasdaq, and fuck man, and now we're in crypto, right? And yeah, we're still chasing narratives, but I think there's a few things that are doing much better. So I'm just sort of considering looking elsewhere. So yeah. That's basically my spiel for AI, man. I don't know if you have anything else, and we can start going through the chats to see what
No,
what
no.
we're
I mean,
seeing.
what you just said there about sort of,
Mm.
your thoughts on the kind of macro picture, the macro environment, the way that the technologies are moving, the companies behind them. In a way, that makes crypto simple again. If we believe that crypto is driven by narratives, then hunting narratives is potentially a better ROI than hunting price action per se. Like we've got to find somewhere to start looking. I guess your sector scanner can point us in that direction
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah. A little bit, yeah. But
Mm,
unfortunately, crypto it moves as a whole, right? When Bitcoin moves, everything moves.
mm,
But if Bitcoin doesn't move, right, it's hard obviously you're gonna get some outliers, and we got some, which is good, right? That's why you have to be looking at the market regardless, right?
mhm.
But that's the downside, right? That is not going to move or explode until something happens to Bitcoin or Ethereum, or Solana, like the big one,
Mhm.
or BNB per se. Like if something goes right with all of them, I think that's when we go big, right? Uh, but with that being said, I think there's a lot of things pulling liquidity out of risk assets per se, right? One is obviously all these narratives happening in the world that actually you can actually invest on the Nasdaq directly, right? That's number one. I think that's my biggest one. Number two, you have all the conflicts, right? All the the stuff, Trump opening its mouth, all that volatility is affecting the markets, is affecting risk assets. No one wants to buy risk assets when things are sort of like, you know what I mean? Sort of like, uh, think about it from the investor perspective, right? Or big institutions. Do you think big institutions, when the outlook of oil is uncertain, do you think, oh, we're gonna go all in, or we're gonna go all in on Bitcoin right now? Not really. You know what I mean? Like think about it from a perspective. Why? Think about it. The big institutions, which is the big money. What they will do? They will need to provide. They will need to provide like reports to investors, and it's not going to look good that we bought thousands of Bitcoin this month because they don't. Like unfortunately,
It's
the
already
risk
gone down
management.
1.2 million since we bought it.
You know what I mean? And they do have allocation to it, but it's a minimum allocation. But think about it from the perspective what's pulling liquidity away from the markets, and what's pulling away from the markets is the new narratives, right? So all these big institutions, they want to get into the new stuff, right? They want to get into AI, they want to get into these big companies, they want to get into the evaluations of Anthropic, OpenAI, all the stuffs that are actually now being IPOs and releasing on the stock market. It's not going to look good for an institution not to be on those things.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it when that was the same sort of thing. That was the same sort of thing that what happened with the ETFs, demand of Bitcoin, right? When the ETF opened, it would have been really bad for institutions not to buy the ETF at that particular point, because that was the thing. You know what I mean? And even a smaller location that would actually gave us the influx of volume that Bitcoin actually reached 100 and something, right? That was the liquidity that we needed. I don't see that liquidity happening here in crypto at this stage, right? As of today, like why? There's so much different stuff pulling away from it, right? So many. You know how many AI companies have launched in the past, like real companies, right? Not crypto companies. I'm talking about AI stuff related, all the infrastructure, that is being built, data centers. They want to go in, man. Like institutions want to go in on that. This is a good investment. You know what I mean? That's going to be the future infrastructure, and that's all in Nasdaq. That's not in crypto, right? Of course, we do have some infrastructure stuff in crypto that it could do well, but until crypto sort of fucking, gets that tracking, I still feel, shit, man. You know what I mean? It's good for scalping, don't get me wrong, but like the long-term stuff yeah. But the thing, crypto, it could wake up at any freaking moment, man. You know what I mean? Like,
it could, right? Because banks like to be able to create money. So I think for every $1 they receive, they can print like $12 or something like that. Now, if we remember back to the financial crisis of 2008, we just kept putting toxic debt into these portfolio things. And then they just eventually because it was all toxic, right?
Yeah.
But what I read is that they want to create the same toxic debt all over again, right? So that credits are free for all for everybody. But then in each package, they're going to put in a bit of Bitcoin, which will then increase in value and eat up the toxic debt.
Man, that's the thing, that could, yeah, definitely, that could be right, and you don't know what they planning to do. Now you have fucking Trump with crypto. Trump is a big driver of crypto in either direction. Think about it from that perspective, either direction. Okay. In Australia a couple of weeks ago, it was this news around, Trump. I don't know if that happened in the US or Trump released the tax returns, something like that, and they mentioned where the main assets came from, and fucking crypto. I say, of course, man. All these funds that actually they blew up in a way, and then just sold on the top. Of course, he's gonna be a fucking billionaire.
He's the biggest grifter of us all.
Man, like it's no regulations, no anything. If you have money, crypto is the best way to actually run all those manipulations on the market. Zero efficiency, zero you have no regulations whatsoever in terms of things that you have to report.
And your dad is the one that can set the regulations.
Oh man, it's just interesting. So you just have to look at the markets for what they are and play with it. I think that's the biggest advice I ever got. Don't wait. If crypto is not playing, just play the way that crypto is playing right now. Which I think is scalping of short-term opportunities all over the place, man. All over the place, to be honest. So it's just time demanding, right? Or, transition to other markets. You know what I mean? Like, I know we talk about crypto pretty much, but there's a lot of opportunities in the Nasdaq at the moment, to be honest, in different companies that are being launched. So yeah, Let's jump in the charts and so what are you seeing, Ian? Are you seeing anything interesting in Bitcoin or
I
it's
am
let me
I'm the same as where I was last week.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny enough, just catching up with everything this morning. Since Thursday, nothing has nothing moved, to be honest, right? So nothing really moved in the last couple of days. I'm glad. I'm happy. I'll be really pissed if things moved and say, ah, shit, I missed the boat again. And this is one of the things that I'm saying in terms of crypto. It can wake up at any given moment, right? And if you're not there, you're not there. Period. So that's why consistency is still a thing. The fact that nothing is there is okay, but realizing that you have to watch pretty much every day to see where, because once he wake up. This is a beast. This is one of those things in terms of crypto that that we all enjoy, right? That when things move, they move, man, and that's when we capitalize on things. Okay, so that's basically I went away on Thursday. Yep, so probably this is the price action that we missed. Has nothing technically a little bit down from Thursday. So yeah, Joe, I'm going to talk about Tau. I'm going to talk about it today because I think that could be, if we look at the AI crypto companies, that could be stuff there for us, right? And so let's start with Bitcoin. So obviously this is all the stuff that we looked at it from last week. Let me just get rid of this. This is a new week, so um though let me just get rid of all this stuff so we don't get confused. All right, first of all, let me ask you how you guys feel about crypto in general. Do you guys feel that, yeah, what's your take right now in crypto? Love it. Okay. Jim, reckon will double soon. Yeah. Agreed, bud. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I think that's like really good approach in today's markets. So yeah, okay. So where we at? So that was last week, right? Last week was quite volatile. We basically are at the same prices or our same range of last week's, right? Let me bring it to the weekly chart. Yeah, from the weekly chart perspective, this candle, obviously last week, very undecisive, right? It's kind of like dodgy, but it could look like there's a lower high here, right? So it could bring us like, if anything, in terms of price action, we have a mixture of things. We have, I don't know if you guys know much about technical. You have sort of like engulfing candle coming here, and then a high low here, sorry, lower high. So yeah, pretty confused in terms of there's no trending, we're ranging. It could do anything this week, pretty much, right? Also, another thing, this week we're going to have big news in terms of different things. It's a big week. We're going to have FOMC. We're going to have some of. We're going to have also interest. FOMC and FOMC and interest decisions in London. Yeah, London. So London is going to be an interesting sessions. Also, we're going to have some economic data released. We're going to have earnings of AI stocks. No, not AI stocks. Technology stocks. Some of them, I think, is Microsoft, and another one. Let me just check. I had all this stuff here. Second. Yeah. So Facebook, Meta, and Microsoft, we're going to have the Bank of England interest rates. We're going to have the Bank of Japan interest rate decision. So it's the lowest, and that's on Thursday. On Thursday, is going to be a really good, a really volatile day. We're gonna have the Bank of England, we have inflation, we're gonna have Apple and Amazon reports, so a lot of technology stuff, which is basically the ones. Why do I care about that? Because technology right now is the one that's driving the markets. AI, Google, Meta, Amazon, all that sort of stuff are the ones that actually drive the markets. Is the biggest the biggest market cap on the S&P 500, right? So that is going to move the S&P 500. Therefore, right, if it moves the S&P 500 to either direction, right, if good earnings are good and rate interests, interest rate decisions are good and things like that, so I could expect going up. I would expect that risk assets will catch a bit because now investors feel a little bit more confident and they start buying Bitcoin and they start buying crypto stuff, and they feel much more confident. But this is a range, as you can actually see. This is the S&P 500 on the weekly. So this is we don't see any directionality. Can we bounce here for a while? Yes, we can. But these decisions that's why this is a big week. Because it's going to be a lot of this thing, a lot of fundamentals thing that it could drive this thing, the markets to the direction, right? On top of that, guess what? We're end of the month stuff. I'd rather not buy anything at the end of the month. Rather, it could be really good for scalping, but obviously, markets could shift quite a bit after the news, before the news. Depends on what happens on everything that's going to happen. Everything will finish on Friday. Friday is Bank of Japan interest rate decision. That's a big one as well. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things with the carry trade, Jen, and all sort of stuff. So that so this week is going to be a very volatile week. It could be, or it could be that market don't move because news they just not good enough for any direction. So what we're trying to do here is to see what's the reaction of the market depending of the news. That's basically it, right? If it's bad news, did the market react effectively, or did the market absorb the news correctly? And then that's basically what we're going to see this week. So heads up for this week, right? I don't expect to get positioned big this week. That's basically the summary of it. So in terms of that's the biggest thing that I want to talk about. Now, if everything goes fine, right? Let's talk about if everything is in our favor. This is the level 63,000, right? Is the level that I want to see Bitcoin holding. Let me show you the open interest in the CBD from that perspective. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay. Bitcoin. Let's have a look. Reset chart. Okay. Wow. That drop was just right now. Plus, yeah, because I was watching the Bitcoin, and Bitcoin looked really good. And
Wow.
now we had this drop, right? So still no strength, right? No strength whatsoever on CBD, right? So you can actually see, this is on the last couple of days, CBD volume just dropping. Oh man, that would be a really great short anyway. Anyway, liquidations to the downside, right? Now, why do I say 63? Let me just go a little bit. So check this out. This is pretty interesting here. Okay. This level here, right? This level here was, remember that I don't know, you guys watched my video on Thursday or Wednesday. Did you?
Uh,
I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday. All
what
right.
was the main thing that you?
The main thing, it was this sellout, huge sellout here, right? That was on this huge sellout happened and the market did not move, right? So I came out like this is really, it doesn't feel right because this is a big sellout in terms of CVD volume, right? But immediately it started to buying back again and again and again and again and again. However, that was the thing that I wasn't really confident. When you see these huge sells, there's a lot of selling pressure on the spot side of things. The interesting thing was that market did not move, market did not come down. So what it tells me is that a lot of perps were actually driving the longs. But when perps drive the market, it becomes really volatile. It's going to take stops to the upside and it's going to take stops to the downside. It's going to get that liquidity, which is basically what is been happening right now. So now you can actually see that it's no strength whatsoever. Now then, like it took all these longs, see, just now. That's interesting, man. So imagine, all the perps going long here. What is a reasonable stop loss? So obviously below these lows, and I think this could go a little bit lower. I think it could actually drive, take all these stops out at the 62,000 level. And then we'll see if we get any wake up call on these ones, on the CVD aspect of it. So we could get some more liquidation towards the downside from that perspective. So yeah, that's the one that I was watching. Now all that liquidity was kind of taken out. Is more liquidity at here, right? You can actually see. That's interesting. You can actually see where the liquidity is. All the spot liquidity, right? You can actually see this massive candle here, which is basically lines up with this 62,500 level, give or take. So that's a really good opportunity to hunt down the short. So shorts are going to short, and that's a good target, right? But then if we keep scrolling down, that's the level that I want to see holding, the $60,000 level. If we don't hold that one, then more than likely we might reach lower areas, and the next area is the 60,000 again. Here we go again. So this is the 62,000 level. It's been being respected quite a bit. I'm seeing buying opportunities, right? Because you can actually see that every time it falls, it's sort of like, you can actually see the front running a little bit. That's one thing that I like in terms of open interest, price action. So you have these levels here, right? But you can actually see that they're being bought at higher levels. You know what I mean? It's not waiting to buy right here. So this is a really good indication from that perspective. Now, what I don't like is this losing its structure sort of deal. This is the first time right now that it wasn't sort of respecting that behavior. See? Now we went lower than, man, very tough to say from a getting position. So I would rather not until I see some evidence that we see some buying, some strength, some sort of strength on Bitcoin or on Ethereum and Solana, right? Look at this. Ethereum now, CBD starts sort of, selling heavily. I would expect this because it's end of the month almost, right? So this is an end of the month. It could be end of the month behavior, or it could be the risk in prior FOMC and all those things that are going to happen this week. So that could be one thing. So from that perspective, I think I'm going to wait. That's it, to get position for the long term. You could see, you could hunt for shorts, definitely. It looks like the market is heading south, right? so that one thing. But yeah, things that I like, IBIT is holding, right? IBIT is looking okay in terms of actually having a structure. I'm aiming towards this 200 EMA. So if this holds, I think we still have a chance with Bitcoin holding those levels. Obviously, we're going to wait to see what happens as well in terms of the S&P 500. S&P 500, a lot of earnings are going to be released over the week, so it could get really volatile. The dominance, USDC, USDT, nothing is happening. We'll try to break it down. What I want to see is this thing breaking down, definitely. But as you can see, it's not sort of giving us that sort of structural downwards movement that I'm expecting. So yeah, conflicted, but I'm leaning towards not to do anything pretty much based on everything that's going to happen over the week. Maybe we're going to have some scalping opportunities. But let me talk about the stuff that we hold. Ondo, I don't think it's a bad idea to put the stop loss. Ondo is actually doing really good. The thing though, Ondo is holding pretty good relative to Bitcoin. Very good. So I'm happy we are on that trade. Probably not a bad idea to put the stop loss to break even. And if we get it stopped out, then on break even, then obviously we try to get back in after the volatility is over. Or if you're okay, your risk is not that huge, you can actually just keep it. The risk is you're gonna get this. If we do get really bad news on the FOMC and things like that, we might get a week down and yeah. XPL, excuse me, the shit. We obviously still. I haven't taken this one out yet, but I don't like the fact that we're breaking the little structure here. So, and you can actually see how well formed this. It hasn't been able to move past this level here. So I think I'm going to get out of this one and get back in if we see any strength. Lead still holding pretty strong, right? I want to add more on this one. Stop losses, I'll break even. This one still on. Workcoin is not doing great. Obviously, stop loss is down here. I want to get more on this one. That's it for our trades. Things that I'm watching. Obviously, I'm watching VVV. So VVV, I wanted to get here, which I did not, by the way. But that was my entry point, which it was massive good reaction there. So I'm still thinking to get on VVV. If we do get another dump, I'll definitely just get that one in based on what we talk about. VVV is doing pretty well in terms of the models, in terms of what they're doing. I really like this one for long-term sort of holds. Tau, right? I was thinking about this on Friday last week. Tau is still good. Obviously, price action is because Tau obviously is AI infrastructure on crypto. Technically, it's supposed to be decentralized, but it's not. I think that's when it's falling a little bit. But I think Tau is still a good proposition for a long-term perspective. Price action wise, I don't really like it. Now, if we do have a flush, maybe 180 could be a really good entry point for it, and then riding its way up. I like Nilion. So Nilion had a pretty good day yesterday. This Nilion is AI-driven company as well in terms of privacy. I think this will, but the fact of this one, doing this on leverage, this could be really, really difficult because this one moves a lot. And I still think this project has a lot of interesting things. So when it catches a bid and when it catches, it could be a really good opportunity. So very, very interesting one. A lot of shorts are being built. It's going to feel, if this one catches a bit in terms of narrative, which still have, some interesting things to do, this one could be a really great opportunity. So this is the one that I'm watching. Of course, I'm watching Arrow as well. check this one. So yeah, a few things. In terms of something that I wanted to show you is that I'm watching as well. So I'm just watching at the moment, right? I'm watching cards. Okay, so cards. I talked about cards probably around here. We didn't take this one. It retraced fully, but cards still it's still a lot of good narrative in terms of what they're doing with the Pokemon cards and stuff like that. Now Jupiter also is doing something like that that's going to fuel a lot of the economy, the cards economy. This is a freaking economy, man, believe it or not. Huge things happening. And I'm just tracking how the fees are doing if the volume is there. It looks like we do have volume. It doesn't look like this is a project that is going to be in dump. So based on that, I think it could now provide us with a really good entry point. However, be mindful, this is on chain. This is very volatile. It could be down 50, 70% in one day and then come back in the next day. So have that in mind. But this is something that I'm watching as well from the long-term perspective. So anything else? I'm not seeing anything else. Just going to wait to see what happens with all the news this week. And yeah, that's it. What do you make of that Robinhood meme delivering at 30x over the crap week? I did talk about the Robinhood chain. Is that what you're talking about, Miles? Yes, I did talk about it. Yeah, so Robinhood launched its own chain, and I think that's going to fuel a lot of the meme stuff that they drip. So one thing that you can do, right? You could go to Tech Screener, right? And you could, this is the Robinhood chain right here. Let me just open a new tab so I don't. Yeah, there's a few things that I'm watching for Robinhood. So you get a lot of these memes being launched on the Robinhood chain now, right? These things could be very profitable, but they could be very dodgy. So just have that in mind, right? So I'm not very experienced in these things, to be honest. Scott is much better at spotting these things than me. But this is going to provide liquidity to Robinhood chain for a fact. Another one that I'm watching based on this is DYDX, right? I did talk about it. DYDX and Robinhood, they're launching their own sort of DeFi exchange. And I think that could fuel DYDX from the perspective that we can actually trade. So that's the only thing in terms of Robinhood. I'm still watching it. It's in my watch list, but yeah, with a grain of salt, right? But yeah, Robinhood is going to allow people, retail traders to buy any token, any meme coin, right? And that's going to fuel the meme economy quite a bit. So I'm just going to be aware of which ones are the ones, right? So yeah, you can just go here and then click on the 24 hours gain. So there's a few, for instance, this one, it went up 4,000% the last 40. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is not my game, but you could actually see a lot of these things happening, right? Rock, went up for 4,000% and then drop the next day also, right? So yeah. Anyway, so Donna, IPOs. Oh shit, yes. This. Let me just. I had it here. Give me 1 second. Is this one? Where is it? Bot. It's this one. I'm watching this one. Bot. Okay, so bot is like a fund on Nasdaq, right? Let me just add it here. I don't know. I have more, but probably I'll give you a full research this week. So BOT is sort of like ETF, right? That actually invests on robotics. On this is on Nasdaq. Okay, this is think about it like the S&P 500, but for robotic and technology driven stocks, right? So I'm watching this one very closely, right? This one on the launch, but long term, because it's an ETF per se, I think this one could do really well. So this is one. What is the other APO? I'll share with you tomorrow, right? I'll do a small list of Nasdaq stuff that I'm watching. Okay, new stuff that is, obviously I'm still watching. What is it? SpaceX. So something with the IPOs to be mindful is that an APO that's providing liquidity for investors to exit, but that doesn't mean that the company is pretty much the same thing with crypto, right? I'm watching SPX, which is SpaceX, right, to buy, right? It launched at 160, went up to 225, and it went all the way down to 113. So I'm waiting to see what the bottom is, right? And this one, and start buying SpaceX, man. You can buy in Hyperliquid, you can buy it on anything, but yeah. So I'm just keeping on my radar here. So that's the one that I wanna invest because SpaceX I think is gonna do well long term. Not the time now, but I'm just waiting to see where the price action leads. I think 100 could get there from the psychological perspective, right? But it's getting really close. So you can start seeing people buying at these levels. So that's the one. And this is the same thing, crypto, man. Same thing. Every time that you send a new company, new expectations, new things, investors sell off, you get this dump, and then market will recover to its value. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome. We are pretty much at the end of the time now. Anything final from you?
No, no, that's it. I think Donna says I can get you accept. Donna, you should get the videos. I usually put in videos on a daily basis on the in Mighty Network. So is that what you mean? Like you can actually see the updates that I give?
Hey, Donna, you need to be inside the 100x Coin Club on Mighty Networks. If you're not in there, then shoot support a message. The way that
Yeah,
you get
definitely.
in there would be if you want to do it quickly, go to your inbox, search 100x welcome email, pull that up, and then you'll be able to join the Mighty Networks from there or shoot support a message. All right. I've
All right,
attempted a
guys.
loop. Well, Donna, there's nothing I can do on this live call for you right now. It really is a support job. Okay. All right, lovely.
All right,
Okay.
guys.
Ta-ra,
Have an
everybody.
awesome day. I'll see you next week.